If you've been looking at the Mini-Made camper, you might have wondered, so what does this look like when it shows up at my door? And how do I put it together? Can I do this myself or do I need some help? Hi, I'm Dale with Open Road Outfitters, and in this video, I'll show you how I do it. It takes just a few simple tools to uncrate and assemble the Mini-Made. Here are the essentials. A ratchet drive with a 9/16 socket, a 9/16 wrench, a ratchet with a 13/16 socket, a box opener, and a cordless drill with a Phillips bit. The first thing you want to do is inspect the crate when it's delivered to make sure your camper arrived undamaged. If there's any obvious damage to the crate, take some time and open it up enough to make sure the camper is okay. The driver will wait. Mini-Mates are crated well enough. Damage isn't common, so don't worry about this too much. This camper arrived in perfect condition. Uncrating the camper and removing all the wrapping takes about as much time as anything. Use your drill with the Phillips bit to remove the panels and set those aside. The tongue is mounted to one side panel. Use your 9/16 wrench to unbolt that and then set the tongue away. The box cutter will help you get through the layers of wrapping and cardboard they use to protect the camper. Now, when you get closer to the camper, reverse the knife so you aren't cutting toward the camper. But make sure you don't cut yourself either, so be careful. Next, remove the screws from the blocking that secures the wheel hubs to the pallet. After that, remove the screws from the side plates that secure the front of the camper. Sometimes those screws are at an angle and they're hard to take out, so you might have to remove those panels by other methods. Remove the hardware from the two bolts under the body. One is near the front, the other near the axle. You'll want to keep this hardware to mount the tongue. To install the tongue, start by running the wiring harness through the tongue. One end of the tongue has an angled cut, and the longer end of that angled cut should be on top against the camper body at the mounting point nearest the axle. If you're doing this yourself, it's easiest to start with the front mounting point. Get the washer, lock washer, and nut started on the bolt to hold the tongue in place and run it up until it's near the top. But don't tighten it just yet. Now you can easily control the tongue and get it started on the second mounting point. After you've done that, tighten the nuts at both points. Now it's time to install the wheels, and these are stored inside the camper. So to get to those, pop open the camper latches, and now you can raise the lid just enough to open the rear door. Stow the front jack stands so the front of the camper drops down. Now drop the rear jack stands and deploy the legs so they touch the bottom of the pallet. Now the Mini-Made is not that heavy, and I can do this by myself, but you might find that it's a little easier with some help. You'll want to raise the camper as high as you can. Drop down the front jack stands and let the legs extend as far as possible. Set the legs on the front edge of the pallet and you'll get a little extra clearance room to install the wheels. Remove the blocking on the wheels and set the lug nuts aside. Install the wheels with the tire valve stem to the outside. You'll notice that the lug nuts are tapered. Now you want to install the nuts so that the taper goes into the rim. This taper helps seat and center the wheel on the hub. Now you'll use your 13/16 socket to snug up the lugs so you can move the camper. Don't tighten them just yet. You'll tighten those later when the wheels are on the ground. Now you can move the camper off the pallet. To do this, stow the front and rear jack stands, then remove the rear lumbar and roll the camper off. Well, we're almost done. This camper came equipped with a swivel adapter that lets the coupler pivot. So this mounts by sliding the swivel into the tongue of the trailer. Then I just line up the holes and install the bolts. The bolt with the safety chains is installed on the front, and then these are tightened down. This camper was also equipped with a spare tire and bracket, so that goes on next. Following a star pattern, tighten the lug nuts. If you have a torque wrench, the recommended torque value for half-inch studs on steel wheels is 90 to 120 foot-pounds. If you don't have a torque wrench, apply enough pressure so that the camper starts to move. You want lug nuts to be secure, but not so tight that they'll be impossible to remove later. The Mini-Mate also comes with black caps to cover the lug nuts. That's a nice decorative touch. That's about all there is to it. This camper will need to have a plug attached to the wiring harness and a final air pressure check on the tires, and it'll be ready to hit the road. Until then, I'll just stow it in the old open road garage where it'll be safe until its new owner comes to pick it up. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel for more information about motorcycle trailering and camping. Check out my online store at openroadoutfitters.com, and feel free to email me with any questions. I'm at dale@openroadoutfitters.com. So until we meet around the campfire, this is Dale for openroadoutfitters.com, wishing you many happy journeys.